Hello, everybody. So today we want to step away from the social media just a little bit, and we're going to talk more about writing being art and storytelling and characters and things of that nature, because we got a little bit away from that. I think we should have talked about that more in the first place, but we're back on it a little bit. So let's see, we talked about editing, we talked about beta readers, and we've talked about things. So like before we get into anything with the formatting and publishing and things like that, I do want to talk more about stories and characters and so
yeah, because we're trying to follow the basic process of
we're trying to have like a little bit of a format. I mean, we're not doing like super great with it, but I think we should have a little bit. All right,
structure.
Let's make a note of something with choosing character names.
Okay.
Now, I have always made it a point to, with my children, for example, I always made it a point to really choose my character names for my children to for their characters. I really did a lot of research, and I really made it a point to pick names that I believed in and that I wanted you guys to be, and things like that, or that kind of went with you at the time or whatever. So names are have always been something that's really been important to me. And I think that people should take the same care, not only in choosing their children's names, but in also choosing their character names. I think choosing your character names is, super important, because it, I'm trying to think of a good way to put this. It's like, you can have just if your characters themselves aren't like super important to telling the story, you're still going to have people that they still should be invested in your characters themselves. I mean, it depends, on your story and everything.
Yeah,
they should go with your genre. You don't want to have, well, of course I always do, but I do like, and we have Jack. Jack is like, it doesn't matter what kind of story I'm telling.
Oh yes, Jack getting by the dragon.
Jack is in the dragon stories. Jack is in murder mysteries. I mean, it's always Jack. I don't know. Jack's my guy. But I think that Jack is also, he's my my plain, like it's like myself that I put in to it. It's Jack. Just I don't know.
Jack.
Yeah.
So Jack is.
I always put in a lot of R names, names with like R's and stuff like that.
R's.
I like
That's
A's.
interesting.
I like R's and A's and
I just
other E's. I like E's too.
And but I've read a lot of I've read hundreds and hundreds of books, and there have been a few times where you're reading through the book and it's like you're continually stuck on the character's name. That's something I really don't like. Whenever you're reading the story, and by the second chapter, you shouldn't even have to think about the character's name anymore.
No, it should be like, oh, this character is this name. This name is.
Yeah, you should already have it, and it should be
like,
well established. Yeah, and their names shouldn't be overly complicated is one of the things too.
Especially for a main character. Like if you're purposely making a joke out of it, or you're making a point with the character having a complicated name, like the full name of the horse Bree and the horse and his boy.
Yeah.
That was on purpose.
Exactly.
And you only used it the one time you gave him a nickname.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, that's
If you're doing
good
that on
example.
purpose, you can do that and get away with it.
Well, see, okay, so Tolkien broke all the rules. Tolkien,
Yes.
and that's what made him famous. And why his stories were so great. I don't know, in case anybody doesn't know, that's where my name is from. I'm Galadriel from, I'm not Galadriel from Lord of the Rings, but that's my name, is from Lord of the Rings, from the book. I'm not, I was not named after the movies. I'm a little bit too old for that.
Just a little.
Seeing as I was pregnant with my second child, when the first movie came out, and then I was pregnant with my third child when the second movie came out. So yeah, I'm a little bit old to be, so don't anybody ever say, oh, you just took that name on because of the movies. No, those books were written a long time ago. And my parents are much older than most parents of people my age, because I have much older siblings too. So
Yeah,
And it'd be almost like people saying that she was named after the movie Frozen.
yes, her name was Elsa, and well, she's older than the movie, so
By a good couple of years,
Yeah.
more than a decade.
yeah, exactly that. I remember being like, whenever that movie came out, I was like, they stole my name. I mean, it was the name that I chose, not I was kind of ticked about that.
Except
at the same
never
time-
heard of her.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Anyways,
don't know why, but it's like, people go, oh, that name, that's a conversation starter, so.
yeah, it is. That's what happens. Well, with me, it's usually how do you say that? What's your name again? What? And then, or if people do know my name, they're like, oh, you just gave yourself that name, or you're going by a pseudonym online, or something like that. And no, that is my real name.
With me, it's why do you have so many extra letters in your name?
Yeah, with you, yes, okay, so yeah, I did. I spelled it fancy because I was you were a little princess.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's just my coworker.
Yeah, you have extra letters in your name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alex.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
well, okay, so in a book, but in a book, see, it wouldn't matter because you're writing it, like you could have extra letters in the name Abigail. And see, I also wanted to have it yours, but it's the Gale. It's got the
It's
Y.
very
Like, it is. I thought it was prettier than
It looks
AYAIL.
amazing in person.
So I know it's beautiful. So I don't know, things like that are important to me. And I think that it's just as important in a book. And one of the things I like to do in books actually is I like to take common names and spell them slightly different.
To where they're like to do.
Yeah, it's where you can still pronounce them, they're still pronounced the same, but they just have like instead of an I, we use a Y, or vice versa, or something like that, because they look so cool. Like,
Yeah, I like to do that sometimes.
Yeah, like I spell Patricia with an O instead of an A, the one books.
yeah, one of my favorite things about names, and this is really cool, like super cool. So your older sister, whenever I was pregnant with her, I was going to name her, if she was a boy, I was going to name her Derek Joseph. And I was gonna spell Derek Deric, just Derek, just like basically Eric with a D. And we have this fun little thing with that, is that's her husband's name, is Eric Joseph.
Oh, that's funny.
Isn't that fun?
I never realized.
Yeah, isn't that cool? And of course, that's that's her dad's middle name too. So I thought that was really super cool.
Yeah.
One of those fun little coincidences. And especially because of the way I was gonna spell it was, with Eric
Instead
with a
of
D.
like Derek.
Instead of, yeah. So anyway, that was a fun little thing. So
Very fun.
anyway, things like that, like in a book, like I would spell Derek, Deric.
Foreshadowing.
It's just, yeah, exactly, it was foreshadowing. I love things like that. Isn't that what life is anyway? I mean, like, life is just a series of foreshadowing and prologues and plot twists and like, that's what life's about. So that brings me to like, let's start with names. Okay, so we want to keep our names simple. You don't want to have tongue twister names in books. That is one thing I want to point out, by the way, that's like people say about my name in particular. And they're always like, oh, Galadriel, how do I say that? Oh, it's like so complicated. No, it's not complicated at all. It's phonetic. It is perfectly phonetic. Tolkien was not like an idiot. all of his names, everything was phonetic. Even in the different languages, they were phonetic based on, the
Based on the
Elvish. and-
languages.
Yes, based on the languages even. So, but that's something that that often annoys me, but that's just a little pet peeve of mine.
Is that our names and such aren't phonetic?
Yes, whenever names aren't phonetic and you're like tripping over them and, or people just, they mispronounce your name or a name in a book because they don't know phonics. It's like, they were never taught phonics, so, they don't never
And
learn.
it doesn't, it's not even any language.
Yeah, it doesn't even
Phonetic.
matter. Yeah, if you didn't learn, how to read things phonetically, then you need to go
Yeah.
back and actually do that. It's
And language specific too, because like in Latin, J says Y. Like in
exactly,
hallelujah.
exactly.
Yeah. And in like Mexican or Spanish,
Right.
it's H sound.
Yes, and then of course where we live, I mean, there's nobody here
Yeah,
is,
there's- Jose, and then there's somebody named Jose.
yeah, it's,
like-
and it's different, it's like the
There's-
same name, but it's pronounced
But one of
different
them's from
depending
Europe
on
and
where
one of
they're,
them's from
where they're from.
Central America.
Yeah. So around where we live, there's a lot of people from Russia and Colombia, what you.
The Dominican Republic.
Yeah, Dominican Republic, Hungary,
Yeah,
Ukraine.
Ukraine.
It's all like, it's like Russian and then South American, it's
Yeah,
actually,
there's a lot of
primarily, a lot of Germans too, but not as many, we don't interact with them as
No,
much.
I've seen quite a few.
We interact more with the Russians and with the people from South America and
And with people from
Argentinians
Pennsylvania.
and Argentinians.
Well, South America.
Well, I'm saying, another country specifically. But in Pennsylvania, yes, there's a lot of people from Pennsylvania, they're mostly from Philadelphia though.
Yeah, they're mostly from Philadelphia. I met a couple people from Pittsburgh, a couple people from like
New
New
York.
Jersey, New York.
New York, very few and far between.
Yeah, some guy came in with a Pirates baseball cap the other day.
Wow, okay.
So like we do have our Pittsburghers around here too.
Yeah, well, there's a Steelers bar, somewhere, I
Steelers
don't even know.
bar?
Yeah,
I know there's an Irish pub someplace. It's called Flanagan's.
okay, well, there's, all right, I don't know what. Yeah.
We're talking about we're talking about diversity and diversity in character names.
Yeah, the
and
diversity.
phonetics.
So, okay, that's
Yeah.
another thing to consider too, is we want, okay. So if you have people if you have like, worlds, and we're talking about, fiction, like
Fantasy
fiction
yeah.
specifically, I mean, it's just,
I mean,
it's an
okay,
easy
so
thing.
basically the whole main thing is you don't wanna have a German named McGregor.
Yes, very good, yes. Yeah, you don't wanna have a German guy named McGregor, and you don't want it to be spelled like MIKGRAJ.
Yeah, where is
And then,
the
and
vowels?
expect people to be able to relate to that and read it in your story. So yeah, that's basically what we're getting at.
This is
Yes,
a German guy.
we
His-
want-
his name's Jose McGregor.
Yeah, so your characters, I mean, this is.
What does he do, speak Hungarian?
Yeah,
Speaks
Hungary, hungry.
Hungary.
Yeah, I have trouble saying that, so
Yeah.
forgive us anybody that's from
Oh, yeah.
Hungary.
We're not trying to offend anybody.
We just, yeah, we don't wanna offend anybody, we just aren't exactly, yeah.
We're not.
We're not perfect, that's actually what it boils down to.
Mhm.
I mean, some of us are and some of us aren't.
Yeah.
Some of us are perfect, and some of us are just a little bit, some of us are perfect, but not. Okay, so anyways, some of us are Leos and some of us are not, that's all I can say about it. Can you guess? Which one? No, I'm just kidding.
Two.
So anyway,
There's actually two.
there's two Leos here.
Yeah.
But she's like a Leo Virgo, that's why she's just
Very
she's
quiet.
quiet. She's,
No,
so
Virgos
she's
are
quiet.
No,
but
but
actually, she's not very quiet once she really gets riled up. She's really obnoxious and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm always obnoxious. Unless I'm observing. But
I'm
anyways,
always obnoxious unless.
even when I'm observing, I'm sometimes obnoxious.
Sometimes you're like,
it's just nobody
I'm
knows.
observing with my eyes.
It's
The
just
scene that's unfolding.
it's just that nobody knows how obnoxious I'm being because I'm keeping it inside my little brain.
Little brain.
Instead of letting it come out of my little mouth.
Pooh Bear.
Instead of having it come out of my little mouth, it's the same thing. Yes. Hey, I wonder if people's mouths are the size of their brains. Or in, in proportion to their brains.
That would be very strange.
Isn't that an interesting thought?
Mm,
No, because
what is-
sometimes there's people that have like really
Maybe
little
you should write a
mouths.
fantasy book
and-
about that.
Maybe.
Well,
I'm
I
just
mean,
wondering. I don't
everyone
wanna-
here has a pretty good sized jaw.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at you, have like, you have a really big mouth.
I guess.
And you are very smart.
And it's genetic.
Okay, yeah, all right, moving on. So we're talking about characters. Look at how much time we've wasted and we haven't even gotten into talking about actual storytelling.
Well,
I
let's
guess
get
that'll
on
be like a
with
whole
it.
nother episode. So
Once
character
upon a
names.
time, there was a character, and he had a name, and he went on an adventure, and then it was happily ever after.
All right,
There was
so
stuff in between.
Basic story
the
structure.
whole idea of stories, of books, okay, even if you're writing nonfiction, it should tell some kind of story, right? I mean, it should have like, there's a purpose. Every story has a purpose.
And it should have like a
Every
beginning, a middle,
book
and
should have a purpose.
Yeah.
Even if it's a memoir, you should be telling a story throughout like a memoir. There should be like, a beginning, conflict and, something.
resolution.
Yes, thank you. And conclusion and everything. So even a,
Like with these videos here, we're not very good at that.
no, we're not. But we're getting better. I mean, we will get better too. Or we'll get worse, whichever. Either way, it's gonna be fun, right? Who cares?
Yeah.
So anyways, the point is like stories, no matter what type of story you have, and you should, your character names should be easy to read, easy to remember. And they should still be unique to your story and should be, relevant to your, your place, the time in history and all of those things. And that kind of goes without saying, but there's some people, sometimes you need reminded of those things. If you're writing your story and you're like, I just love this name. I love the name Aloysius. Oh my goodness, it is absolutely one of my favorite names in the world. And sometimes I put it in stories
Are you gonna have like
that,
5-year-old Aloysius going to kindergarten?
right, but like sometimes I put that name in stories, like just completely to be irrelevant.
Mhm.
And I do that on purpose, though, because it's just sort of like,
Characteristic of
yes.
your writing style. sometimes?
Yes, that's just me.
Mhm.
So if you're doing something like that, that can be fun. It's like, okay, well, that can be like using hashtags.
Mhm.
So what are you?
Hashtag Aloysius.
Are you hiding Aloysius everyone in your books now or something?
I might end up doing that. You know what? I might end up doing that. I might take all of my books and have like, that can be like a thing. And maybe what we'll do is
Like,
I'll have like a prize
have
at the end or
random-
something.
And then like your memoirs can be called The Adventures of Jack and Aloysius.
Yeah, there we go. That'd be perfect. Oh, excellent. All right, so anyways, nobody is allowed to steal my ideas.
Oh yeah, that's copyrighted.
That's copyrighted
Forever.
forever. Not
She
that
just
anybody
drew
really-
she's copyrighting it right
Yeah,
now.
I just copyright my ideas, Aloysius, okay.
You can't copyright the name, so.
I don't, I'm not
No.
copyrighting the name. But anyways, so now we should move on to like story structure and things like that. So your story should tell a story, whether it's a nonfiction book or whether it's nonfiction, whether it's a memoir, whether it's fiction, no matter what it is, it should have like, a beginning, middle, and end. And I don't want to get too much into like all of that, but all your characters, and of course, they should be like they should be wanting something, they should be doing something, they should have a purpose.
Mhm.
You should not have any characters in your story that don't have a purpose.
Yeah.
That's another thing. You don't want to just throw in 15 people in the pub. Like, you can just say there's 15 people in the pub and
A
only
couple
one of
are
them
drunk.
speaks, and you don't have to name them all,
No.
is what I'm saying. You don't need to name,
Bill, Bob, and Terry were all in the pub with their friends Joe, Jeff, and
yeah, exactly.
Baker, but none of them have anything to do with the story, and you're gonna forget about them by the end of the chapter.
Exactly. If they do not have a purpose in the actual story, don't name them. Don't give them names.
Yeah.
Just say that, there was like 10 people over there, and then, Jack came over and was speaking to Hammersmith about, this and that and the other.
Mhm.
you don't need to name it was, or you could just say the pub was crowded.
Yeah.
You know?
Jack walked into a crowded pub.
I had a question.
Yes.
Why are we writing a story about a pub?
Yeah, that's what I was
Because there's always pubs in my
Irish
stories, those are my stories. There's always Jack, there's always a pub, it's
Last
Snow
time
White
I-
Aloysius,
Also-
and
Last time we had
Also-
Jack getting eaten by a dragon.
Yes.
Also, wherever you go.
Yeah, wherever you
Jack's
go.
eaten by a dragon,
There's
and
always
then
an
walks into a
Irish
It's a song. It's wherever you go around the world, you'll always find an Irish pub.
Okay, that was too much talking at once, I'm
Yes.
sure nobody understood any of that,
Okay.
because I sure as hell didn't. Isabella, would you like to re-say what you said instead of
Take the
talking
floor.
over?
I didn't say anything.
What was it about Jack getting eaten by a dragon?
No, I said first he gets eaten by the dragon, and then he walks into the pub.
Okay, yeah,
exactly.
because he only got eaten by the dragon to retrieve his sword. Because
Yes.
the dragon ate his sword. And he needed his sword, so he like dove into the dragon's mouth and grabbed his sword, and cut the dragon open on the inside.
That's charming, but
That's not Jack, that's the other guy.
Jack was the one who got eaten by the dragon, remember?
Okay, yes, that was Jack, but we have a different story with that in it.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do.
Because I don't remember.
The one with the knight, the one with the knights, you helped, yeah. with that.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes,
Our,
that one.
the knights,
Yes,
yeah, we have to finish that one,
These are the knights you
yes.
must.
yes. So anyways, we have some stories that we're gonna have a lot of fun with too.
Maybe we'll read them on the show.
Yes, oh my goodness, it'd be so much fun. Do you guys wanna hear that? Oh my goodness. You know what I would love to do? Oh my goodness, I wanna do that. I want people to send me books. And I want them
On the
to
show.
say, like, okay, if you guys have funny parts in your books.
Oh, yeah, we can. act
Oh
out.
my goodness, yeah, we're talking about people, if they
Yeah.
wanna send us books
read
to
Funny part,
like
favorite
review or
parts.
something like that, if you've got
yeah,
the
we
funny
can review them
part.
on the show.
I would love
We
to
could
do
read- we could
reading
read
out loud
our
of
favorite
people's, our favorite parts of the
And-
stories and things like
Be
that, so
prepared.
yes. Oh my goodness, I
Be
love it.
prepared for us to make fun of them as well.
And yeah, well, we make fun of we make fun of ourselves,
Yeah.
so it's not,
No, I was
it's
just
don't
saying,
take it
like,
personally.
I
We
was
won't
saying,
be
like,
negative.
If you're gonna get offended or anything like that.
Oh,
you
yeah,
might
please,
not want
you know
to
what, if
watch
anybody
it.
anybody that gets offended easily should not even be watching the
That's what I just
show.
said. I said if you get offended, you might not wanna watch.
No, they shouldn't be be watching the show this far,
No.
like, they should have shut it off, like, whenever we first started.
Halfway through the first one.
Yeah, if they get offended
least
easily,
that.
no, this
Yeah.
is not the show for you if you get offended easily. I mean, just not, I'm sorry, it's just not.
Yeah.
Cause we're offensive,
Yes.
that's what obnoxious means. I am obnoxious.
You've said that. I believe that was in your
That means
character. That was in-
offensive.
that was in
Isn't
your
that the name
character
of the
intro.
show?
Yes, that's my character intro. This is me, I'm Galadriel, I am obnoxious. I'm sorry, it's a fact. Some things are facts and some things are fiction. And you know what my favorite line in the whole world is? No one can ever be sure, my friends, where truth begins and fiction ends.
Yeah, I knew
Say
it.
that.
That is my favorite line in the entire world. And you know what that is from?
The peacock party.
No, I was gonna do
Was it a quiz?
something. Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
you ruined
I-
it.
Sorry, I flunked.
You fail. That is like negative 500 gold stars. Demerits.
Good thing that my brilliant idea of reading people's books on a show covers that.
Yes, but I was gonna say about, anyway, I was gonna make it be, I was gonna say anybody that can, well, we can do that later.
Yeah.
So anyways, it is from the Peacock Party. And it's that is my favorite book from when I was a child. And I wanna make note of that I took that to school for my teacher to read in second grade. And she hurt my feelings so bad because she wouldn't read it to the class. And the teacher said, everybody, every day, somebody is gonna, bring a book, and for story time, you bring in your favorite book and I will read it to the class. And I'm the only child. I took my favorite book to school for my second grade teacher to read aloud to the class, and she would not read it. And she wouldn't even show the kids all the pictures. She read a couple of the pieces and showed a couple of the pictures. she was highly offended or afraid. I'm not sure which, but the raven in particular.
Oh yeah, the raven. Yeah.
She like was like she like hurried up and flipped the page.
Shalom
Yeah.
Nazam.
Yeah, and Shalom Nazam and yeah. So that was a very traumatic experience for me, I must admit, because I was hurt. I was actually genuinely hurt. I was like, what's wrong with me that my favorite story is not good enough for your class? Like, I was like, it took me a while to process that, because and now what it did was it fueled me to be who I am. It was, a major thing for me. And if anybody has ever read The Peacock Party, or what's the Lion's Cavalcade and Butterfly Ball and the Grasshopper's Feast, if anybody has ever read those, you can see why I was genuinely hurt. Those were my favorite books whenever I was little. And I cherish them. I still have them, for crying out loud.
Yeah, duct tape and all.
I love, duct tape and all. So, and I read them to all my children. And so that is part of the reason that I am the way I am, is actually because of that one of those little incidents in school. And that's also why one of the reasons why I homeschooled my kids. So, and why they're all different.
Different.
Wait a minute.
I wanted to hear. That's why they're all awesome and amazing.
They are awesome,
Different.
and amazing, but I don't want to offend people though either, because there's
Yeah.
like, I went to public school. I don't want to get on the school
No.
train, because
No, that's too much.
for me, sending you guys to public school would have been bad. I mean, it wouldn't have worked out very well. It wouldn't have been healthy for anybody.
Yeah.
That's just all there is to it. It's just good that we homeschool.
Yeah, you were just
because-
protecting the rest of the world.
Yes, and now I am unleashing you. So, anyways, that's my little, that's all I'm gonna talk about with homeschooling, because I don't wanna offend anybody, for now. We'll offend people more on that later. Back to stories. So.
That was quite a story.
Yeah.
Well, the point was,
we discussed
I
it.
was, I don't know, I was very hurt by that. That was something it was very upsetting to me.
Yeah.
So, telling stories is, part of telling stories.
We might
And characters
listen to
and-
episodes.
What?
I'm gonna have to continue.
Yes, I think we better quit for the day.
Well,
Yeah,
You didn't get to say anything.
I know,
This is what always happens.
we ramble on. Just like a Led Zeppelin song. Say a whole lot of nothing. Yes.
Or
love
that
that.
makes me wonder sometimes.
How much drinks now?
Yeah.
It makes me wonder.
So anyway, I think we're gonna call it a day.
I think so.
We're calling this a day, by the way.
All right,
Yeah, it's a day.
so it's a day.
It's actually Wednesday.
Maybe we'll stop this. Let's stop this, and maybe we'll come back and we'll do another.
Okay.
Actually, let's stop this one. Go ahead, and we'll